There are two reasons you lean on a bike. Number one, to transfer weight onto the contact patch, enhancing the grip. Second reason is to keep the weight 100%. Say it with me, it's the big B, balanced. Let's start with the technicalities of how grip is enhanced by the weight transfer of leaning on a bike. When you're turning, the inertia of you and your bike is pushing to the outside, and that inertia is wanting to flip you and the bike over. So going lower to the side, countering the inertial forces, will help you not to flip over. So now inertia is not bothering you anymore. In fact, all that weight is 100% to your benefit. By leaning, you're using the inertia to push the weight onto the tires, giving them more grip. So yes, your inertia is to good use once again. Leaning also points the inertia in the right direction to nail your contact patch into the ground. Or does it? You see, it doesn't just do this. All that inertia is actually pointing offset to the contact patch, because when you lean, the contact patch is massively shifted to the inside. All that inertia, it is getting balanced, but all the force is pointing to the middle of the tire, the center line, where the contact patch isn't. But there's a way to solve this. Leaning with your buttocks inside offset, this weight torque direction changes the inertia's pressure point. This is where weight torque is a good thing. All of the force is acted onto the contact patch, because you're not just leaning, you also offset at the right angle. But you got to adjust and tune perfectly how much lean and how much offset for how much speed, for how much grip, to how aggressive the corner angle is. That's the pivot, that's you. That is the contact patch. It enhances it, gives you more grip. Inertia control is all tuned by leaning and offset angles and a lot more. You see, it's like a go-kart. You on your bike, your own body is part of perfectly balancing the vehicle, because leaning too much will make the weight have no grip effect on the tires. Your inertia will trip you, but when you've got it perfectly balanced, you are greatly rewarded. You can also tune the rotation aggression with your front to rear leaning offset angle, whether you want to have the biggest offset angle right in the front or you want to hang your ass out. I'll get to the rest on that just now. But there's also a balance factor in hard braking and hard acceleration. Launching the bike, lunging the bike. Fact is, bikes have a short wheelbase and quite a high center of gravity. I mean, that's why they lean at such huge angle, because of that high center of gravity. You sitting right on the top, the equivalent for a car would be top mounted engine, or you sitting on the roof like Mr. Bean. So what you need to do is control your weight. So during braking, you need to put all your weight on the rear of the bike. That's why a lot of the time during braking in MotoGP, they sit up. During acceleration, you want to lean forward. Keep the front down so you don't wheelie like hell. Here's the thing, wheelies are good because it transfers now all of the weight perfectly for the rear wheel to punch all of the bike forward. We learned this long ago in the balance series. In drag racing, the reason the Dodge Demon 170 can pull 2 G's accelerating when it launches off the line is because it's punching the center of gravity. It's punching the engine at the perfect angle. During cornering rotation, you're pushing the engine in the trajectory of rotation. But you see, here's the thing, it has a very, very small margin. I mean, just like all the things I've just mentioned about pushing the center weight. This is balancing. This is the whole point. Balance. You won't go anywhere without balance. The only way you can drive or ride fast is by balancing perfectly. But you see, that's top to bottom, center of gravity balancing. Fact is, there's also front to rear, center of balance. What is the center weight on your bike? Well, you're really heavy, but there's also an engine. You kind of centered in the bike, but the engine is most of the time kind of forward. It's like a front mid-engine car. The gearbox is just behind the engine. Now, apart from leaning, when it comes to using wheel speed ratio, slip angle, and understeer for rotation, front to rear balance, when you are cornering in a vehicle, just conventional normal turning, even without understeer, zero understeer, forget that understeer even exists. You're cornering with the vehicle. The fact is, as you enter the corner, as you start turning, The front wheels are covering a more aggressive line. They're the ones doing the turning, which means the front wheels are rotating the same amount of times as the rear wheels, but covering a shorter distance, turning more aggressively. Opening the throttle over front wheels that are turning aggressively to a very small level, you are already lifting up the wheel speed ratio, regardless of possible understeer that could bring blocking friction. And on a bike, when you open the throttle while you're cornering, leaning and all, you are to a small point lifting up the wheel speed ratio. That's a good thing. You can corner faster. You know those stories where some rookie would be like, I thought I was going to hit the barrier. I was understeering on my bike. And then I just opened the throttle and completed the corner like it was nothing. Yeah. So that's one thing. If you want to be Fernando Alonso on a bike, well, some people are doing that these days. Enter hard and aggressively, put more steering angle, then open the throttle, raise up the wheel speed ratio and exit on full speed. This usually possessing a V-shaped racing line. Then lastly, my favorite there is slip angle. Sliding the rear tire in the perfect margin to slip the rear wheels, rotate the rear wheels along the perfect axis, pushing the engine and the gearbox in the trajectory of rotation. It's the same as in a car, except a bike is a different animal. It's much more unforgiving, but I'm sure it's been haunting you for this whole video. The fundamentals are the same. There's a rotation, there's wheel speed ratio, there's a center weight that must be pushed in the trajectory of rotation. But that is not where it ends. It's not just lean, sit offset on the bike, and rotate it with the perfect wheel speed ratio. There's also front to rear lean balance. Let's talk about go-karts for a second. A go-kart also possesses so little weight, so your own body contributes to balance. You know what I'm getting to? Leaning. What we've been talking about for the past 2 minutes. In a go-kart, when you take a corner, if you lean your body all the way to the outside, your shoulders, your hips, everything to the outside, putting the weight on the outside of the cart, your inside rear wheel is getting the same amount of torque as your outside rear wheel. Due to the fact that there's no differential, there'll be less grip on the inside wheel, hence it will have a differential and kind of go a little slower. It doesn't have as much grip, it's going to slide a little, whereas the outside rear wheel has all the grip. So you can use that to avoid understeer. If you have a lot of oversteer, or if you want to do a braking drift, but go faster and more aggressive with the braking drift without having too much angle, then lean on the inside of the cart. You'll be putting more weight on the rear inside tire. Your rear wheels will be going at the same speed, but taking lines with different aggression. The wheels are going to skip each other, and you're going to have a little bit of understeer. If you already have a lot of oversteer, what's going to happen is the leaning to the inside is going to stabilize that oversteer. I like pulling off a braking drift in the go-kart as I enter the corner. That's a good time to lean on the inside. Most MotoGP riders, when they lean on the bike and they give that offset angle, sitting off the bike on the inside, usually they balance it with enough front offset and rear offset. The minor tuning you can do to the offset angle, which some people call hang off, that will just change the grip ratio front to rear. You can unbalance it, prevent the weight from adding up to full potential. You can make the weight a liability from doing it wrong. Hang off is to balance the weight and maximize grip. Get full potential out of the weight to glue those tires to the road and get full potential out of the tires. The truth is, you don't want to tune it at all to get front grip or rear grip. You want it to be perfectly balanced so you can get the full potential out of the weight, you get the full potential out of the tires. Even if there's a major imbalance in the build of the bike, you want there to be the perfect weight at the perfect angle on both tires. This has nothing to do with rotating. This has everything to do with maximizing the rotation potential. This is the difference between center of balance and rotation. Both are needed to reach full potential. Here's what you need to do. Don't try this or that because it looks or sounds cool. Listen to your bike and balance it properly. That way you'll be fast. Although it does demand more of a razor's edge. Bikes are different animals. This is the first time there's been bike content on the Pistonfury, but trust me, I adore bikes and I'm planning on buying one.